Okay, a very certain someone wants me to do an Atlas build. You know who you are, but that's okay. Atlas is pretty damn strong anyway, so let's have a look at him. Here we are in the simulacrum with Atlas, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up against some level 160 corrupted heavy gunners, like so. I'm going to grab some energy, and maybe get hit a bit more. There we go. And then we're going to punch him. And we're going to punch him. Oh. Oh, I can do a mercy kill on that one. Excellent. Alright, that one's dead. Next one. I need to get hit a bit more. It's taking some more damage. And boom. There we go. Awesome. What's next? Boom. There we go. Who's next? These two. Awesome. Alrighty. Who's next? Let's see. Dead. Who's next? This one can get mercied. Excellent. Who's next? Dead. Oh, my rumblers are gone. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. Boom. Done. Awesome. So, who's next? Is that everyone? Yes, that's everyone. Awesome. So, let's have a look at the build that I'm using when it comes to Atlas. You probably would have figured out what I did already, but let's have a look at it anyway. This is the build that I am using with Atlas. So the big thing is that it's a zero formal build, and also I've replaced Tectonics with something like Fire Blast. Fire Blast is able to serve two functions on a build like this. The first one, of course, is that it reduces armor by 75%. Great! That's really, really strong. That's why you would notice that on corrupted heavy gunners that didn't have Fire Blast applied to them, they did take quite a few more hits, around about 6 punches, I think, and the enemies that were affected by Fire Blast, they took about 3 punches, and that's a big, big difference. The other thing, of course, is that Healing Flame is applied to Fire Blast, so what that means is that on a build like mine, I get to heal around 57 health per enemy hit, so against those corrupted heavy gunners, with about 20 of them, that's quite a lot of health to heal up pretty damn quickly. Obviously, that means that with less enemies around, you're going to heal a little bit less, but that also means you're going to be taking less damage, so that should be really, really fine. Otherwise, the rest of this build should be pretty straightforward, especially for a good old-fashioned Rage Tank build. Hunter Adrenaline, Vitality, of course, and then otherwise, the rest of the stats should pretty much speak for themselves. Now, because Atlas's Landslide is actually one of those abilities that uses a stat stick, i.e. it's a pseudo-exalted weapon, we're also going to have a look at a melee build to complement Landslide. And this is the melee build that I have chosen to use. It is on an Archititron, and it's definitely not an Archititron build that I would recommend to anyone who's trying to use the Archititron itself. But in terms of just trying to use it for the Landslide, this seems to work for me. There are a lot of things that don't work on Landslide, and that's why I have to make something that's a little bit stranger. The ultimate thing is that we're going for something like Heavy Trauma for extra impact damage, because the Landslide is an impact-based ability, so we might as well go for that. You could potentially swap it out for something like Heat if you want. It's entirely up to you. Otherwise, we're going for a lot of extra viral damage, because that works as well. We're also going to put in Guardian Derision just for the memes, but that's really not going to affect the Landslide as well. And we're also going for even more impact damage through Saxum Thorax. That's why we're having about 180% extra impact damage. The status chance is not going to make a big difference, because unfortunately the Landslide only has a 5% status chance at base and a 5% crit chance at base as well. That's why I'm not even bothering with something like Blood Rush, because that's not going to do a whole lot. Meanwhile though, Pressure Point and Spoiled Strike are going to be the mods that I'm using to increase the overall damage, because it turns out that Condition Overload doesn't work either. So yeah, we're pretty limited in what we can use for Landslide, so this is basically what I've come up with. It's probably what a lot of people use as well, actually, who knows. So that's pretty much it. Really, really straightforward ability for a really, really powerful Warframe. Now, on both of those particular builds, we are looking at very simplistic 0 and 1 formal builds, so obviously if you want to build a 5 formal build Atlas, you're going to probably want to you know, supercharge something else instead. But outside of that, this is going to be working in pretty much every single scenario that I can think of off the top of my head. There was a thought about whether or not I wanted to use the Rumbler's augment that gives me one great big Rumbler that has 3 times the health and 3 times the damage. I've decided against that, not just because I can't actually fit that mod inside my build in terms of actual mod slots available, but also because having one Rumbler is probably not as useful as having 2 Rumblers in the long run, simply because those Rumblers are able to then soak up a lot more damage, i.e. draw a lot more aggro away, especially for something like a mobile defense mission. I actually did fail a mobile defense mission with the augment on Rumblers instead of having no augment on Rumblers, so that's probably the right idea. And also, you probably want to use Healing Flame instead. That's just my opinion. There's also the thought about using the passive augment for Atlas. I personally don't like it in the sense that I just can't really make it work a whole lot. Maybe against trash enemies, that's probably the way to go, but generally speaking, I find that I'm just too busy just running around punching stuff and not really caring about rubble a whole lot, that I don't really find myself at the 1400 rubble mark. But that just might be my personal playstyle. If you're the kind of Atlas player who likes to actually, you know, punch a lot of people and get a lot of rubble at the same time, you may want to look into tweaking this build to somehow fit in something like the passive augment. I can't really think off the top of my head how, but you might be able to come up with something. Considering that there's a way to do something like a 3 augment map build, surely there's a way to do a 2 augment Atlas build that encompasses something like Healing Flame and the passive augment. That could actually be really strong, but generally speaking, for me personally, I wouldn't bother looking into it. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. How are you using Atlas? Let me know in the comments. Are you using a different augment? Maybe there's another one that could be just as interesting as something like Fire Blast. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more WarFrame content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.